Yes, we are back with you. We just went off air there for it. When you're dealing with the internet, ladies and gentlemen, these things do happen. We were off air for a few minutes, and let's hope it doesn't happen again. But it just happened. Yes, so we talked about the Gifted and Talented program, Project Ahead, AP classes, honors classes, and then the levels. And here we have a report, November the 13th, 2014. Black students in Boston dumped into special ed classes at disproportionately high rates. Young black male students in Boston are being placed in special education classes and separated from their classmates at a much higher rate than students of any other race, according to a new report. Najama Naziat, director of the Boston Area Youth Organization Project, told the Boston Herald it is an unintentional consequence of bad policies. Now hear what they're saying now. It is an unintentional consequences of bad policies. I believe that's how it happened here, is through pushing out young people who they just assume are going to create the most problems, Naziat told the Herald. The overrepresentation of African American boys in special education classes has long been a widespread national problem, often related to a greater willingness on the part of the nation's overwhelming white female teaching staff to peg behavior problems in black males as some sort of disability. In the Opportunity and Equity Report released by the Boston Public School, the Annenberg Institute for School Reform, and the Center for Collaborative Education, it was revealed that nearly 40% of black boys with disabilities at the elementary level in Boston are being taught outside of the main classroom. According to the report, black male students have the highest rate of identification with special needs at all 3 grade levels. More than 25% are identified as special education students. In the elementary grade, nearly 40% of black male students with special needs are in separate classrooms. Black and Latino male students are also disproportionately enrolled in substantially separate special education placement, despite the facts that all students with special needs have to be placed in the least restrictive educational environments, the report says. Black male students are enrolled in separate special education settings at twice the rate of white male students. After the release of the report, the Herald said the NAAC Boston chapter requested a meeting with Mayor Martin J. Walsh and school officials to discuss the findings. And you see, this is part of the problem. After the release of the report, the NAACP is now meeting with the mayor and school officials to discuss the findings. And you see, it's the same problem in this school district here. We knew what the problem is. We know that at Columbia High School, in the lower levels are predominantly kids of color. In the AP classes, there is absolutely no diversity, and it's predominantly white. The honors classes is predominantly white. The Gifted and Talented program is predominantly white. Now, I am not making this up. This is the facts that have been proven true over and over. When I sat on the Community Coalition on Race, we had to have numbers. We looked at the numbers. And the numbers today, if not worse, are the same as it was 10 to 15 years ago. So this is nothing new. NAACP Boston chapter, just like we knew it here. The Community Coalition on Race knew that. They knew the numbers years ago. So why wait until the numbers become public? Then all of a sudden, you jumping out of your boots. Oh, we want to meet with the mayor and we want to meet with the school system. Don't try after the fact. Be proactive. And that's why I said, and I've said it over and over, if there is one major blunder that the Community Coalition have ignored, they have ignored it, is the education system in South Orange and Mayport. They have done fine with everything else. They have done fantastic. They have done a wonderful job, excellent. Look for all the fantastic words to describe the work that they have done. But to me, it seemed to me they decided to look the other way when it comes to education in this system, and that each and everyone is getting a quality of education. The Community Coalition on Race has fallen short. Now, I didn't even notice. Some people say that the CCR stand for the Community Coalition of Real Estate. I didn't know that. But I don't have a problem with the work that the Community Coalition have done as far as real estate is concerned. I don't have a problem. And I'm not going to criticize them for that. I'm not. Because they have done a fantastic job on that. But for the hundreds of kids of color that have gone through the system in this South Orange and Mayport and has received an unequal and unfair education, the Community Coalition need to stand up and say, you know what? We dropped the ball. And then, look, I'm forgetting what it is now. That report that they want to do on Ferguson. Come on. We don't need that. You don't need that. So here we have in Boston, this is yesterday, yesterday this article was done. Black and Latino male students are disproportionately enrolled in substantially separate special education placements, despite the fact that all students with special needs have the right to be placed in the least restrictive educational environment, the report says. And here's the NAACP. It does concern us that so many of our kids are identified as special needs when we know there is no difference between a child of color and a white child if they are afforded the same opportunities, NAACP Boston President Michael Curry told the Herald. Michael, it's kind of late in the game for you to even come out with that comment, Michael. Where were you a few years ago? What about all those kids who have already gone through the system and have been disadvantaged by the system? I thought that's what the NAACP is there for. I thought that's what they're there for. To see things happening and to stop them from continuing to happen. Research shows special education students left in general education settings perform better on reading and math tests, make better grades, and are more engaged academically, and have ultimately better opportunities in adult life. The report recommends that the district review special education, identify and placement policies and procedures with an eye towards correcting gender and racial ethnic biases. Let me repeat that. The report recommends that the district review special education identification and placement policies and procedures with an eye towards correcting gender and racial ethnic biases. Interim school president John McDonough acknowledged that the process needs to be re-examined, according to the Herald. It is not our belief that students of color have more disabilities than students who are not of color, he said. We now have a challenge to look deeper than the finding and ask those questions about both practice as well as causality. In July, the Herald reported that Boston was also dumping non-English speaking immigrant students into special education classes. The U.S. Department of Justice has been monitoring the district since 2010. And that is Boston now. Just recently, it was the South Orange Maple School District. Now, it's Boston. So what's next, ladies and gentlemen? I mean, why is it so difficult just to give everyone an equal education? Why is that so difficult? I just don't get it. I don't get it. You know, I'm trying to remember if going to school in the Caribbean, if we had any special education classes or project ahead classes or gifted and talented pro classes or honors classes or AP classes. You know what? I can't recall having those type of, segregation, so to speak, segregation/separation. I don't have anything against AP classes and honors classes now. I think if you're very intelligent and you want to put the time in and the work in order to be more advanced, more power to you. More power to your parents if they're putting that time in as well. But all across the nation, it seemed like if it is something that is systematic. And why is that? Why does that have to be? Do we really and truly want an education system where everyone is getting an equal education? Do we really, really, truly? Because it just seemed that almost across the country, that the kids of color are suffering. And I'm sure sometimes people, they listen and they say, but Anselm, why are you worrying about that? Why are you worrying? You don't have any kids in the school system. No, I don't. I don't. But as I said in the past, my passion is education. I have a passion for education. If I didn't get an education, if I weren't able to go to college, where would I have been today? And I ask myself that question all the time. As a matter of fact, I went to Boys and Girls High School in Brooklyn. And I guess they believe when you come from the Caribbean that somehow the Caribbean education is a second-class education. Yes, they do. They do.